Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Rashmi Sinha from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Today we are going to talk on the module Human Growth Curves of Different Body Parts and Tissues from the paper Human Growth, Development and Nutrition. In this model, we will discuss about the human growth, distance and velocity curves, growth curves of different tissues and different parts of the body. Growth and development are characterized by defined way in which humans change in size, shape and maturity relative to the passage of time. Growth and development are independent, interrelated processes. For example, infant muscle, bone and nervous system must grow to a certain point before the infant sits up or starts walking. Growth generally takes place during the first 20 years of life and development continues after that. Growth is the physical change and increase in size and it can be measured. Indicators of growth include height, weight, bone size and dentition. Development, on the other hand, is the increase in the complexity of the function and skill progression. It is the capacity and skill of a person to function. Growth and development are independent and interrelated processes. Maturation is the sequence of physical changes that are related to genetic influence. It is independent of environment, but its timing can be influenced by the environmental factors. The rate of person's growth and development is highly individualized, however, is highly predictable. Growth is a continuous process that is determined by many factors. All human follows the same pattern of growth and development. The sequence of each stage is predictable, although the time of the onset, the length of the stage and the effect of each stage vary with person. Learning can either help or hinder the maturation process depending on what is learned. Each developmental stage has its own characteristics. Growth and development occur in cephalocaudal, that is, starting at the head and moving to the trunk, the legs and the feet. Growth and development become increasingly different. Certain stages of growth and development are more critical than others. Growth and development occur in proximal to distal direction, that is, from the center of the body outward. Growth is affected by various factors. Now let us see what are the factors that influence human growth and development. Heredity. Heredity and genes certainly play an important role in the transmission of physical and social characteristics from parents to offsprings. Different characteristics of growth and development like intelligence, aptitude, body structure, height, weight, color of hair and eyes are highly influenced by heredity. Sex is a very important factor which influences human growth and development. There is a lot of difference in growth and development between girls and boys. Physical growth of girls in teens is faster than in boys. Overall, the body structure and growth of girls are different from boys. Socioeconomic factors definitely have some effect. It has been seen that children from different socioeconomic levels vary in average body size at all ages, the upper level families being always more advanced. The most important reason behind this are better nutrition, better facilities, regular meals, sleep and exercise. Family size also influences growth rate, as in big families with limited income sometimes have children that do not get the proper nutrition and hence growth is affected. Nutritional. Growth is directly related with nutrition. The human body requires an adequate supply of calories for its normal growth, and this need of requirements vary with the phase of development. As per studies, malnutrition is referred as large-scale problem in many developing countries. They are more likely to be underweight, much shorter than average, and low height for age, known as stunting. If the children are malnourished, this slows their growth process. There are 9 different amino acids which are necessary for growth, and absence of any one will give rise to stunted growth. Other factors like zinc, iodine, calcium, phosphorus and vitamins are also essential for proper growth, and deficiencies of any one can affect the normal growth and development of the body. Hormones. There are large number of endocrine glands present inside our body. These glands secrete one or more hormones directly into the bloodstream. These hormones are capable of raising or lowering the activity level of the body or some organs of the body. Hormones are considered to be a growth supporting substance. These hormones play an important role in regulating the process of growth and development. Pollution. According to studies, air pollution not only affects the respiratory organs but also have harmful effects on human growth. Indoor pollution or pollution from housing conditions can result in ill health, which can negatively impact human growth and development. For example, lead exposure from deteriorated lead-based paint in older housing can be very harmful. Lead is very harmful for children as it simply gets immersed into the growing bodies of children and obstructs with the normal development of brain and other organs and systems. Race. Racial factors also influence height, weight, color, features and body constitution of human being. The body growth and development differences show a relationship with varied cultural groups. For example, a child of black race will be black. Their height, their rise in eye color, facial structure are all governed by the same race. The human growth curve. Slow early growth occurs from the first emergence or growth, which is followed by long phase of rapid increase in body mass and maturation organs, especially structural or somatic tissues that support the individual up to about the time of puberty or reproductive maturity. Finally, growth slows after reproductive maturation. Growth continues throughout life, so that the oldest individual in the population are generally the largest. Growth is defined as an increase in tissue mass. Mass increases by hyperplasia, that is, increased cell production in normal tissue or organs. Early in life, and hypertrophy, that is, increase in the volume of an organ or tissue due to enlargement of its component cells later in life, although hyperplasia of adipose tissue continues throughout life. The growth curve, being mass or cumulative weight plotted against age, is sigmoid, consisting of prepubertal accelerating phase plus a postpubertal decelerating phase. Mathematically, this curve can be described as a function of mature mass, fractional growth rate and age. At a specific fraction of mature mass, body composition seems to be constant, but the degree to which nutrition can alter mature mass is not certain. If mature mass is altered, body composition at any given mass will be altered. Mature mass can be decreased by starvation or protein deficiency early in life. Alternatively, retarding the deposition of fat or the administration of estrogenic compounds may increase mature protein mass. There are two curves of growth: distance curve of growth and velocity curve of growth. Distance curve of growth. Scammon produced a curve that describes the height achieved at any age that became known as height distance or height for age curve. It is over or growth at some point of time. Gradually, with time, there occurs increase in height and weight of a child, which can be revealed by measuring at some point of time. The term distance is used to describe height achieved because it is easy to visualize and understand the fact that the child's height at any particular age is the reflection of how far that child has progressed towards adulthood. The curve resulted is relatively smooth and continuous process. It is not characterized by periods of no growth and then by dramatic increase in nature. From this curve, it is clear that growth is not a linear process, that is, we do not gain the same amount of height during each calendar year. The curve of growth has four distinct phases corresponding to relatively rapid growth in infancy, steady growth in childhood, rapid growth during adolescence, and very slow growth as the individual approaches to adulthood. Growth represents a most dramatic increase in size. The pattern of growth that can be seen from this curve is function of the frequency of data acquisition. The total distance curve may be represented by several mathematical functions, allow mathematical models to be applied to the pattern of growth. These models are in fact parametric function that contains constant or parameters. Once the appropriate function that fits the raw data has been found, the parameters can be analyzed, revealing a good deal about the process of human growth. For example, the two variables such as the age and height being linearly related between say 5 and 10 years of age, the mathematical function y is equal to a plus bx describes the relationship where height is denoted by y and age by the x. The parameter a represents the point at which the straight line passes through the y-axis and is called intercept, and b represents the amount that x increases for each unit increase in y and is called regression coefficient. The fitting of this function to data from different children and subsequent analysis of parameters can provide information about the magnitude of the differences between the children and lead to further investigation of the causes of the differences. Such time series analysis is extremely used within research on human growth because it allows the reduction of large amount of data to only a few parameters. Now, what is velocity curve of growth? The pattern created by changing rates of growth is more clearly seen by actually visualizing the rate of change of the size with time, that is, growth velocity or height velocity. The term height velocity was coined by Tanner and was based on the writings of Sir D.R.A. Wentworth Thompson. According to him, the curve of rate of change of height with time shows a succession of varying velocities. From the velocity curve of growth, two growth spurts can be seen. The first of these growth spurts is called the juvenile or the mid growth spurt, and the second is called the adolescent growth spurt. In fact, there is another growth spurt that cannot be seen because it occurs before birth. It is the increment in the growth in the unit of time. Measurement of velocity of growth is more fruitful. It helps in early assessment of retarding factors of growth as well as prediction of ultimate growth. Scammonn's curve of systematic growth provide a good starting point of postnatal growth. Upon analysis of weight of the body and of specific tissues and organs, Scammon proposed that the growth of different tissues and systems could be summarized in 4 patterns or curves of growth. The curves provide a convenient means of summarizing the differential nature postnatal growth. The growth curves provide a convenient means of summarizing the differential nature of postnatal growth. Most skeletal and muscular dimensions follow approximately the growth curve described for height. So also do the dimensions of organs such as the liver, spleen and kidneys. But there are other tissues which have curves sufficiently different to need description. These are the brain and the skull, the reproductive organs, the lymphoid tissue and the subcutaneous fat. Here you can see in this figure, it is shown the developmental growth curves of the just mentioned different parts and tissues of human body, each plotted as percentage of the total gain from birth to 20 years of age. Reproductive, general, brain and head and lymphoid are shown here. General curve. The general or whole body curve describes the growth of the body as a whole and growth of most of its parts, the growth patterns of stature, weight and most external dimensions of the body. They follow a curve which is perhaps not very different in principle, though striking so in effect. The general curve is also characteristic of growth patterns of most systems of the body, including muscle mass, skeleton with the exception of certain parts of the skull and face, the respiratory system, the heart and the blood vessels, the digestive system and the urinary system. The growth pattern is generally S shape, that is sigmoid shape, and has 4 phases. 1. Rapid growth in infancy and early childhood. 2. Steady but rather constant growth during middle childhood. 3. Rapid growth during adolescent growth spurt, and 4th, slow increase and eventually cessation of growth after adolescence. The latter part of the curve continues into the third decade of life for most dimensions. Neural curve, brain and head. The neural curve characterizes the growth of the brain, nervous system and associated structures such as eyes, upper face and parts of the skull. It thus has a characteristic postnatal growth curve. These tissues experience rapid growth early in postnatal life, so about 95% of the total increment in size of the central nervous system and related structures between birth and 20 years of age is already attained by about 7 years of age. Neural tissues show steady gain after 7 years of age with slight growth spurt during adolescence. Thus, if the brain has an adolescent growth spurt at all, it is a very small one. A small but definite spurt occurs in head length and breadth, but all or most of this is due to thickening of skull bones and the scalp together with the development of air sinuses. The face follows a curve midway between that of the top portion of the skull and remainder of the skeleton. It is nearer its mature dimensions at birth, later than body length, but has still a considerable adolescent spurt, which is greatest in the mandible. Thus, the head as a whole is more advanced than the remainder of the body, and the upper part of it, that is the eyes and the brain, are more advanced than the lower portion, that is the face and the jaw. Genital or reproductive curve. The genital curve characterizes the growth pattern of the primary and secondary sex characteristics. Primary sex characteristics include the ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus and vagina in females, and the testes, seminal vesicle, prostate and penis in male. Secondary sex characteristics include breast in females, pubic and axillary hair in both the sexes, and facial hair and growth of the larynx in males. Larynx growth is related to voice changes that occur during male adolescence. Genital tissues show slight growth in infancy followed by latent purring during most of the childhood. General tissues then experience extremely rapid growth and maturation during the adolescent spurt. Lymphoid curve. The lymphoid curve describes the growth of the lymph glands, thymus gland, tonsils, appendix, and the lymphoid patches of the tissue in the intestine. The tissues are involved in general with the child's developing immunological capacities, including resistance to infectious diseases. Lymphatic tissue shows rapid growth during infancy and childhood, reaching a maximum when children are about 11 to 13 years of age. At these ages, children have on a relative basis about twice as much lymphoid tissue as they have adults. The decline of lymphoid curve during the second decade of life is related to involution, that is the shrinking of the thymus and tonsils at this time. The subcutaneous fat layer has also a curve of its own and somewhat complicated one. It can be measured by a specially designed caliper applied to a fold of fat pinched up from the underlying muscle. Subcutaneous fat begins to be laid down in the fetus at about 34 weeks and increases from then until birth and from birth until about 9 months. From 9 months, when the velocity is thus 0, the subcutaneous fat decreases, that is, has a negative velocity until age 6 years when it begins to increase once again. Calculations from the measurements of fat on X-ray shows that the cross-sectional decrease is less in girls than in boys. So, after age 1 year, girls come to have more fat than boys. The increase from age 7 years or so occurs in both the sexes in measurements of both limb and body fat. At adolescence, however, the limb fat in boys decreases and is not gained back until the age of about 20 years. In boys, trunk fat, a much smaller loss, if any at all, occurs. There is only a temporary halt to the gradual increase. In girls, there is a slight halting of the limb fat increase but no loss, and the trunk fat shows nothing but a steady rise until the age of discretion is reached. Because body weight represents a mixture of these various tissues, its curves of growth is often less informative than those of the component parts. In general, however, Individuals' velocity curves of weight follows a similar course to the height curve, though to some extent useful in following the height of a child. Weight has a severe limitation that an increase may signify growth in bone and muscle or merely an increase in fat. Similarly, failure to gain weight in older child may signify little except a better attention to diet and exercise, whereas failure to in height or muscle would call for immediate investigation. Scammers curves indicate the differential nature of postnatal growth. Growth occurs in different areas and tissues of the body at different times and at different rates. Although somewhat simplified and diagrammatic, the four curves give a sense of order to the structural and functional changes that occur with the growth and maturation, however, with several exceptions. The craniofacial skeleton is one such exception. The upper part of the face, the orbits of the eyes, the cranial vault follow the neural curve and complete a good portion of their growth when the child is about 7 years of age. The lower face, including the jaw, follows the general curve and has an adolescent growth spurt. Thus, the upper part of the face has different growth pattern than the lower part. The pattern of growth, which was illustrated in the figure earlier, was demonstrated by de Montbillard's son and is only one of the several patterns of growth that are found within the body. It was published by Skeman in 1930. They are sufficient to demonstrate that lymphoid, neural and reproductive tissues have very different pattern of growth from the general growth curve that was initially observed. Neural tissues exhibit strong early growth and is almost complete by 8 years of age, whereas reproductive tissue does not really start to increase in size until 13 or 14 years of age. The lymphatic system, which acts as circulatory fluid, demonstrates a remarkable increase in size until the early adolescent years and then declines perhaps as a result of activities of sex hormones during puberty. Now let us understand what are the key points that we need to understand. Growth occurs in all parts of the human body. Growth occurs rapidly during infancy. Growth then slows down during childhood and becomes rapid again during adolescence. An individual reaches the maximum size during adulthood. Growth becomes negative during the old age. Relative sizes of different parts of the body change with age because they have different growth rates. Girls enter puberty earlier than boys. Therefore, girls have faster than boys during early stages of adolescence and boys grow faster than girls during the late adolescence. Thank you.